Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be doing a new series on this channel where we'll be reviewing pilot episodes.
Yay!
The first part of the episode will be Stargate Atlantis. I hope you enjoy the episode. So, what are our initial thoughts on going into the episode?
I thought it was a pretty good episode. There was a few things that was a bit confusing. If you're first watching it, it would be a bit confusing for newbies to watch, and it might not get you into it. But after the initial, I don't know, say 5 minutes of the episode, you might get really into it, and you get introduced to the main cast that will carry on the first season at least, and that's really good. But but if you are a fan of SG1, there's a lot of tie-ins to SG1. Some of the main leads from SG1 are actually in the episode, which is a good blend, and it makes the episode better for people who enjoy that stuff already. So, but I give it a good solid 7. A good solid 7. My bad. There are definitely things I would add to make it better, but yeah. What was your thoughts?
I thought the episode was fine. I would probably give it an 8. I thought it was good. Obviously, yeah. I'm nitpicky. I look at details, and I look at it like when I say when I say I have to watch something for the first time, I'm watching it like I was watching it for the first time. So if you didn't know, Stargate Atlantis opens up with the ancients, and you see them sort of interacting, but it was like
it was more of a farewell. It was
they didn't. They didn't speak. They just looked. These two random characters looked at each other, and then Atlantis flew off, and that was the beginning of the episode. And if I've never seen the TV show before, or didn't know what was the TV show was about, I would have been like, "This is confusing. What was happening?"
Yeah, like.
So, like, obviously that's just nitpicky. Obviously, and also the one thing I didn't like is the episodes felt a little bit too short.
Both of them combined or separately?
Separately. They felt like maybe like 5 to 10 minutes was shaved off in the episode. Like, it felt like some things felt a little bit too rushed.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like they were like, oh, we've got 46 minutes to do this episode, so we're gonna rush it a little bit, because obviously adverts and stuff like that. It didn't feel like an hour long thing. That was like, with adverts, it felt like, oh, they are having a 46-minute episodes, and then it's like, oh, and then we got adverts. Like, it didn't feel like a normal paced episode.
Who directed the pilot episode? Do you
know? So the pilot episode was actually Martin Wood, who did 47 episodes of Atlantis, and also was
did Sanctuary.
Right? What was it? A producer. He did producing on the of SG1 and Atlantis, and also directed and produced some of the episodes for Sanctuary, another sci-fi type show from the 2000s. And then obviously Martin C. Cooper and Brad Wright was the writers of the show, and they also worked on SG1 and Atlantis. The show came out in 2004, so there is some elements of the early 2000s. It's very... Yeah, I would say it's very 2000s. If you watched it, you would be like, yeah, that's from the 2000s.
I've got questions. So, introducing to all the characters, including the villains, introducing the characters, villains and good people, what was like your highlights of the introductions?
I would say, obviously, this person's gonna roll their eyes because I say this every single time we talk about the show, but Dr. Beckett is my favourite character, and you can sue me on this, but I'm gonna win my case. You know I am. Talking to you people at home. But Dr. Beckett is just so funny. The actor is so natural. He is like everything that he does. So one of the things that he does is he has to sit in the chair because they're trying to figure out what this chair does.
Explain the chair first of all.
Actually, to be fair, we don't actually know much about this chair.
We know it's an outpost
all we
for the
know
ancients.
is that it's very old. And the ancients. This is ancient technology.
Right.
And that's all we know about the chair. So they're trying to figure out how this chair works and what happens. And the characters have a gene. Like, not every character has it, but certain
descendants
characters
of the ancients have this gene still, right?
Yeah. So Dr. Beckett is one of them people that has his gene. So when he's using the chair, a lot of it is comedic. It's very much like, oh, things are going wrong.
But it's serious, but it's also comedic at the same time. They do it very well.
But the thing is, it's a nice contrast to when we see Shepard use it. It's very like serious. It's very much like, oh, this is the actual start of like, oh, it's like the chair was being used in a comedic moment, and now we get to see like the actual serious side of the chair being used, and we actually like going forward is like the episode feels a little bit more leaning because it starts off as sort of a comedic show, then it leans towards being a serious show from Shepard sitting on that chair going forward. Yeah. So it was a nice contrast.
So what about the other introductions?
I would say Shepard has a really good introduction. Obviously, we see him as a pilot, and it was nice contrast for seeing him on a normal Earth aircraft to an alien aircraft, because most of the time we see him in an alien aircraft. So it was like, okay, we know we can see a contrast between him being a human, like in
a human craft and in an alien craft.
Yeah. And also Dr. Weir is a really good character. She's a decent leader. We don't see much leadership with her at the moment, but obviously her and Shepard has a really good banter. Yes, what are you going to say?
There is one thing. I like the fact that there is flaws in her character, because so we get introduced to her. She's really good, but when I mean she has flaws, she tells her love interest what she's going on a video camera, and I feel, even though yes, it's great she was allowed to tell this person, you know, she's going through a Stargate, it's top secret level, and only very special people get to have access to this. So yes, that's good, but it's kind of like getting dumped over the phone, and to me it's like she is human. You know, she's a leader, but yet she has flaws, and it kind of rounds a character a little bit more. Instead of a two-dimensional leader, we get a little bit more of an in-depth who is slightly flawed but is still good power talking, like leader who knows how to give a good talk or speech. Sorry, I interrupted you there. So carry on with
very rude.
Carry on with your what were you saying?
So I would say the episode is split into two parts. The part one is Rising of Atlantis. You see all of that. The one thing I would say, there's two things that I did not like about the first part. The first part is the ancients. It's a bit confusing. And the second thing is watching it back is you get to hear a lot about the power. They're using too much power. So obviously they can't do certain things while they're using too much power. But my only issue with it is, and you might disagree with me on this, is the one thing I do not like is when they go, we got too much power. We have to do certain things. Like, oh, like, things are going wrong. But you actually never see anything go wrong. Like, you never actually, like, I wish that they... I'm perfectly fine. I wish, like, they would show, like, flickering lights or, like, I don't know, like, a scene where, like, I don't know, useless characters that die off it quite easily. You see them on every single TV show. Like, a random scene will happen just to kill off some people. I wish, like, they went into a room and it just, like, flooded instantly, killed off them, and they're like, things are going wrong. Like, we need to shut things down immediately because, like, this is, like, panic mode because, like, people are injured or
What about
dead. Like, I wish they just had a little bit, like, just to show us what was...
I think that's their flaw for the entire show, not just the pilot episode, to be fair. We have seen the show before, so, but, yeah, it is sadly a characteristic of this show. It's a forewarning. So
And then
what about the
obviously
introductions of the Wraith?
I think the Wraith had a really good introduction. Whoever did obviously I know who directed it, but I do not know who did the costume. I know, bad research. I know, you don't have to tell me twice to do some research. You have to tell me 3 times so I can remember.
Marshall, do the research. Marshall, do the research. Marshall, do the research.
This ain't a horror film. You don't have to look in the mirror, tell me 3 times. You have to tell me 4 times because then I'll remember. Anyway, whoever did the costumes did a really great job, and also them walking into that room with that just evil looking face of, like, them pale. It's like that nose. It's like Voldemort from Harry Potter, sort of like presence.
But with hair.
It's like, as soon as you walk into a room, you're like, this is a villain. Like, this is a villain where you can be like, going forward, you're not going to get bored of it, like, looking at them. They're like, it feels like they are as much as part of the show as the humans are.
I also like the fact that they break the stereotypic thing of a villain, where villains kind of like, they tell you what's going on, but it's like they even say, the characters themselves say that they don't have to explain themselves, and I love that because the Wraith doesn't even do that. They walk in, grab a prisoner, and walk out, and it's such a simple moment, but yet the power dynamic is so evident. The power and I guess the evilness of the Wraith is so evident in that short scene when you first get introduced to them. It's so good. It's so good.
It is a really great introduction.
Yeah.
I would say I would like the episode, like, again, nitpicky, that's me. I just wish the episodes were just a little bit longer. I felt like it was like 5 to 10 minutes off. Each episode was just a little bit too short. It felt like they trimmed just a fraction off. Just like towards the, like, just certain scenes felt a little bit too short, a little bit too long, and I feel like if they just edit it a little bit tighter, it could have been amazing. It could have been a 9, but it's an 8.
So, what is your favourite scene in this whole episode?
Again,
both episodes.
I would say it's the cross between Shepard using the what was it again?
The puddle jumper?
No.
Or Gateship 1?
No.
The chair?
The chair. That was it. See, my memory's going. Again, she has to remind me of what happened in the episode. when Shepard used the chair for the first time, that was a really good scene. And the second thing is, just for any scene with the Wraith, it's so cool. But also that death scene when she's like,
the gatekeeper.
Yeah, the gatekeeper is like, oh, you think this was just, it ends with me, you think again,
And then
and
the
then
wraith starts to wake up. Oh.
and then it's like the awakening. It's like, because there's a really, whoever came up with the episode name is very clever, because it's not only the rising of Atlantis, but also it's like the
the rising of the wraith, the great power.
yeah,
that they
the
were.
re-rising, because obviously they've been dormant for all this time, so it's like they are reawakening, and it's like a rebirth of a old monster. So it's very clever.
Yes, definitely.
So what was your favourite
First of all,
scene?
I thought one of your favourite moments was going to be Dr. Beckett. But my favourite scene is actually two. The one when Major Shepherd is leaving for the mission. So the whole junction scene where they first in the ship, they go before and after the initial going through the Stargate of what they're just a banter between the two. I really like that scene. It's a very good start into the next episode where the whole mission takes place. And my favourite scene, which actually eventually goes into the theme song video, which is generally the beginning of each episode, is the rising of Atlantis, when it first initially comes out of the water with no force field and all the water's dropping off from it. It's the best cinematic moment I know of, and even though it was the early 2000s and it could definitely be improved upon, it's still very, very good. It's goosebumps. So all in all, what
I would say it's a solid episode, and I would say I would recommend a lot. I recommend you. Yeah, you. You know who I'm talking to. Susan, Samantha, Sarah.
All girls' names, huh?
Tiffany. Simon. You are going to watch Atlantis. I know you are. Pop it in. Pop it. I see you popping it in. Yeah. Press play now. Sit back and relax. What do you think? Yeah, you talking to them.
Yeah, well, I agree with him. That was our review on Stargate Atlantis. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Yeah, if you do not like this video, then who are you? Tell your mother.
He's totally fine. He's just joking. If you kind of get jokes. I don't really get jokes that much. This is the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed this.
Like and subscribe the video. What should they do?
You don't have to, though, if you don't want to.
What do they have to do?
They have to watch the show.
Part 2 is coming out soon.
Part 2?
Part 2, yeah, part 2. We're doing a part 2. Shocker. And maybe a part 3 as well, if you like the videos.
He's lying now. Byes.